Welcome back to Great Day Washington. While we are all celebrating this holiday season, it's also important to remember that this can be a very hard time of year for some people, a year when loss and loneliness can be very overwhelming. So here with some ways to help handle the grief is attorney, author, and also coach Nicole Mason. Nicole, welcome to Great Day.
Thank you so much, Ellen. It's great to be here. Thank you.
We see all the decorations and everyone's saying, where are you going for Thanksgiving? But sometimes this is the hardest time of year for people when they're dealing with grief. Why is it this time of year that's so much harder than others?
I believe it this time of year because it's so festive and you can remember the times that you spent with your loved one, if that's the loss that you are experiencing, and just all of the emotions and the feelings that go along with having a good time. And then when life crowds in and it feels like the rug proverbially has been pulled from underneath you, and you're trying to navigate a new way of living and a new space and a new time. And so just that friction and that trying to, get your footing all over again can be very, very traumatic and devastating. I know that was the case for me when I lost my mom and my grandmother in the same month. In fact, this month, November, 14 years ago, 17 days apart. I was totally devastated. I was 8 months pregnant at the time.
Oh, my goodness.
And just really the uncertainty of it all for my future, not knowing how I was going to navigate that space. It can be very, very devastating.
And 14 years later, it's still something you think about at the holidays, the traditions, because tradition is so strong this time of year.
Yeah.
Things you used to do with your mom and your grandma.
Absolutely. And that's why I thought it would be a great time to really share some things that have helped me to navigate this time of year. And one of them has been to create new traditions and to involve yourself in some other causes and some other things that you can do to honor your family members. And so, honoring your feelings, that's first and foremost for me.
Right.
Because everybody around you is festive and, you want to try to be festive, but something in you is just really going through a difficult time. But really honoring your feelings, and that's first and foremost so that people can know I'm hurting. Grief is hard.
Right.
Any kind of loss is hard. Loss of a loved one, loss of a job is hard. And so really being honest about that is critically important to healing.
Is it okay to sit in your feelings and to not go out and be involved in all of the activities, but to just take time for yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I know I did that for the first couple of years after my mom and my grandmother passed away. I did not allow myself to engage, but I've also looked back to know that may not have been the best thing to do, because sometimes I feel like we are trying to protect ourselves from ourselves. And what do I mean by that? Because we want to try to keep ourselves in control. We don't want our emotions to overwhelm us. But that's what grief does. Grief is a process that we all have to go through at some point in our lives.
Right.
And you cannot stop the process. It is a process and it is going to have its way. So my thing is to engage the process.
And another way to help handle it, you talk about maybe honoring that person as a day of remembrance where you really go all in with your memories and talking about them and celebrating those old traditions.
And I love that. A day of remembrance, taking out those photos. It's almost like a vision board of your loved one, if you will. That's kind of what it feels like. I had the opportunity to do that, putting together like a scrapbook of my loved ones, writing what that time meant to me. And it was very therapeutic. I cried, I laughed. Then I surrounded myself with a support system of people who could walk with me through that time period. And that's very important for people to really understand and love you through it.
And the last tip that you were saying can help to handle the grief during the holidays is actually to do something for other people.
Absolutely, to serve. And so my mom passed away of heart disease. She had a heart attack in her sleep. And so what I have done is I've become an ambassador for the American Heart Association and really serving, going out talking about heart disease, talking about knowing your numbers to women, exercising, eating healthy, and that really has helped tremendously during the holidays to be of service to others, just as I'm doing today.
If there's somebody that we know in our lives who is going through a loss, something really terrible has just happened to them, how do we help them? Because you want to help, do I mention it? Do I not? Should I bring it up at the table, or do you let it go? What should we do?
Yeah, I think really just being with that person and extending yourself. You know, sometimes people just want to know that they are not alone. So I love to send cards. So sending cards, you know, picking up the phone, which we rarely do now because we can text, but picking up the phone, checking on them, seeing how they're doing, and then allowing them to lead the conversation. If they want to talk about their loved one, then engage them. If they don't, then support them and wherever they find themselves.
Yeah, follow their lead for sure.
Yeah.
You also have an ebook for people.
I do. I created an ebook just for the viewers. They can go to my website, NicoleSmason.com, and put their information in, and I'll send them the ebook.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank
So
you.
important at this time of year. We don't always think about it, but thank you for helping us handle that grief this season.
Thanks so much.
We're taking a quick break. We'll see you on the other side.